this. I'm just gonna get a beverage, and then we will get to work, folks. Not exactly the most exciting introduction I've ever done to a stream. Although usually my introductions to stream are, is it working? So, you know. I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry. I broke my internet just moments ago, so that was fun. Do we have anyone here? Am I just yapping to myself? Probably. Alright. Got YouTube over here. We got chat. Viewer activity. Okay. So, we're live. It's just that nobody likes me. Also, Firefox is being weird. Interesting. Ah, and they're also recommending that I lower my bit rate. Let's see about that. Stream. Can I adjust that? No. Makes sense. I am currently live, so that would be odd. Okay. Is anybody out there? Am I streaming to myself? Where were we? I've, well, if somebody's out there, I'm going to start telling my story of the week, and then I'll probably end up retelling it if people show up. Maybe this will be my first empty stream. Who knows? Hello, hey, only Marino. What's the plans for today? I don't know. I don't know. I think I want to do some Ansible stuff. So I've been, what have I been up to? Basically, I just broke my internet, which was fun. That was really cool. I've been working on getting my networking gear all sort of open. And the next step on the game plan after that was basically setting up this little device. Setting up a little device to do Ansible stuff and Proxmox backup server and NUT, right? And I wanted to do Ansible stuff first because what I wanted to do with Ansible was pull config files from all of my hardware stuff, right? So I'm just trying to get into focus. Is this where I'm in focus? Blurry? Blurry? Focus. Okay. So, because we've got our TrueNAS box, we've got our OpenSense router, and we've got two APs. Yeah, we've got two APs. One of them's the guest Wi-Fi, so I'm not really interested in getting the guest Wi-Fi sort of backed up and stuff, because then I would have to punch firewall rules through from my LAN to my guest Wi-Fi to be able to pull via Ansible the config file on my OpenWRT guest Wi-Fi AP, and that doesn't seem worthwhile. So, oh yes, and Proxmox. So I want to pull all of their configs, and I want to do that with Ansible. But I had a weird issue recently. I realized I couldn't access my OpenWRT, like Lucy, the GUI for OpenWRT, and I was really confused. And I kept looking for it, like there was no lease for it anywhere. Somehow its IP got messed up, and so I just spent like the last hour fixing that, which was super fun. Because at one point it broke my whole network, and I don't even know how that happened. I think actually what happened is I had a brief internet outage at just the right time to make me panic, which is really cool. But anyways, it's up now, and I have my AP at the IP I expect it to be at, which means Ansible should work as expected. I spent some time off stream getting my SSH keys passed around and starting to set up API stuff. Play with home network was like my fun of the pandemic days, right? Yeah. I did some Homelab. Wait, no. Pandemic? What was I up to in the pandemic? I think I was playing Terraria during the pandemic. But yes. That's what I'm up to these days. So, I do need a second, though, because I had some panic trying to get that up and running just before stream. So if you don't mind, I will be eating this piece of toast and chatting with you all. What kinds of projects are you up to these days? Only Marino. What's going on? In the meantime, yeah, what will we be doing? I think we can start to test some Ansible pinging and things like that. Ensure that the SSH keys are working properly and all that jazz. I'm also not very familiar with Ansible. I've used it once or twice before. I understand basic concepts, but I'm not very I'm by no means an expert, so there's going to be some LLM help, some searching up some documentation, some bouncing about to try to figure out what we're doing. I do think we just have a lot of gluing to do before. Yeah, I think we've got quite a bit of gluing things together to do before we can actually build up our Ansible playbooks properly. Because I've got SSH keys from all of the major devices that I want. I want my control node to connect to, but I think for TrueNAS and OpenSense, they have APIs that are sort of the way to go for these things. So we'll see. Hey, Plus, how's it going? Setting up a SAT dish and working on totally legally getting access to all signals satellites are throwing at my roof. Researching and trying an international master degree here, using your live to pass the time between the papers I need to read for this subscription. Cool. What's your master's in? And what papers are you reading? Okay. So yeah. We've got some stuff to do. Let me make sure that the control node, the one we're calling Papa Roach, is up and running. So I'm just going to do one of these. Whoops. We're going to go, we're going to tmux. And first, let's see if we can SSH still. I think it's 23 is what I called this guy. Wait, I have docs for this. Okay. So I've got my control node. Oh, I've put him at 12. All right. So let's go back. Okay, cool. So he's still good to go. Trying game studies and the social impacts. Very cool. I'm reading the basics, Seymour Papert, and The Child Machine in Mindstorms. I think I read Mindstorms, and I've read some Seymour Papert. I'm assuming he's French. Let me take a look. I remember that name popping up. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Because I was doing some like pedagogical stuff. So this guy came up a lot in early computational thinking stuff. Very cool. Maybe let's set up DNS resolution for leases. Okay. What exactly is meant by DNS resolution for leases? What does that mean? I apologize. I know this is probably some serious basics. DNS resolution for leases. What is meant by this? OpenSense core covering Unbound. It explains how DNS queries are processed, right? How host entries are managed, integration with DHCP services, and the configuration generation pipeline. Right. Okay. So I haven't played around with any of OpenSense's DNS stuff. I learned about him because of Paulo Freire's encounters. Now, I haven't heard about Paulo. When host Papa Roach requests a DHCP lease, let the name servers automatically resolve the name. Okay. So just mix the things I like and the things I research. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. That was what I, like, my master's degree was a lot of just kind of, oh, sorry, I'm talking on the wrong camera. My master's degree was a lot of just kind of talking or mixing things that I liked and found interesting. And it was fun. It was fun that way. Okay, so let me grab, where's YouTube? Let's pop this chat out. I'm going to throw this on this monitor down here. Let's see, can I do this? Why are these stacking? My tiling window manager is not tiling the way I wanted it to. Annoying. I'm getting the feeling that it's not tiling. No, it's doing that. It is just not recognizing. Okay. On OpenSense, are you using DNS mask or Unbound? It's easy when it's DNS mask. I don't know. Let's find out. I'm going to do this maybe on my second monitor, just in case I dox myself. I'm using whatever the default is. So services, DNS mask, okay, I don't think it's DNS mask because it doesn't seem to be enabled. Okay, I'm on Unbound. Let the name servers automatically resolve the name. I see. Okay. How much have I thought about DNS at all? That's one question. Because I know I have configured in my plan. I was thinking about DNS being handled mostly by core DNS. I was going to host that as a container. But I haven't thought about that very much. DNS and service discovery. Because there's some cool stuff that can be done with core DNS that would also, that would like sort of automatically register my containers, which I was a big fan of. Apparently it's got like nice integrations for traffic and Docker things. So I was thinking about going that route. Unbound DNS. But I don't know much about DNS. I've never really thought about it. Distributed free of charge in open source form under the modified BSD license. Nice. It was originally written in Java, just like Minecraft. Okay. So I am curious how these things interact with one another, right? Like, if I run core DNS as a container, does that mean I, like, turn off DNS on my router? Do I forward DNS? Do they both operate? I don't really know. So the way I had originally planned it, I suppose, was this. Oh, thank you very much. Best wishes from Turkey. Very cool. It's so cool how international the audience is. Welcome, everybody. So, I was thinking, and let's actually spend some time chatting about this. This was how I had planned it, but this is a very loose plan. And the idea is OpenSense is going to set up AdGuard as the DNS server for all clients on the network. Okay. AdGuard Home is itself a container. And then Core DNS is authoritative for all local zones. If your containers request IP addresses using DHCP anyway, having DHCP plus DNS from the same service, like DNS mask, keeps things practically synkless and working. Okay. Well, let's do a little reading on DNS mask. Virtual networking, virtualization frameworks. Okay. With forwarding of all query types to upstream recursive DNS servers and caching of common record types. Interesting. Okay. So, I'm going to spend a little time seeing if I can actually understand how this works. So, I'm going to do a little conversation with Claude to see if we can figure this out. Often I find learning via Claude can be quite helpful. If you're sort of asking it questions about things that are less structured. Okay. Whoa. Yes. So, I'm configuring DNS for my network. I have an OpenSense router, and I'm unsure how all these components interact. I'm particularly curious about DNS on the OpenSense router and how that might interact with DNS from AdGuard and Core. And let's see. Okay. Let me walk through how each component interacts, especially how OpenSense pieces that aren't obvious. OpenSense has two distinct DNS-related services that are easy to confuse. Unbound, the resolver. This is OpenSense's built-in recursive DNS solver. By default, it handles DNS for the router itself and can also serve as the DNS server for your LAN clients. You want to disable or neuter this because AdGuard is taking that role. DHCP server. This is what tells clients, here's your DNS server IP. You just point this at AdGuard's IP. That's the only thing OpenSense needs to actively do in your setup. Okay, so this makes sense. So the key OpenSense config steps are DHCP DNS server field, set AdGuard's IP. So I would need to do use OpenSense's DNS mask as upstream for LAN on AdGuard home. Okay, I use OpenSense's DNS mask as upstream for LAN on AdGuard home. Interesting. Okay. Unbound, either disable it entirely, or if you want the router itself to resolve DNS, point its upstream at AdGuard 2, but don't let it compete with AdGuard for port 53 on the LAN interface. Client wants jellyfin.lab, asks AdGuard. AdGuard, yes. Core DNS, I'm authoritative for lab for this, returns a record, AdGuard returns answer to client. If you do what Claude proposes, the only client AdGuard sees is OpenSense. You can't block stuff for specific clients this way around. Interesting. Okay, so let's... Okay. So... Yeah, like as I was drafting this, I felt it was really strange like something feels off about setting a container as like upstream DNS. Like I'm worried about containers going down and then I can't resolve any of my domains. Right? That feels weird, but I'm clearly missing some like serious fundamentals here. So I do apologize if anyone here is sort of like well versed in networking. This stream might be a little frustrating to watch today because I'm going to be confused about a lot of things that you're going to feel very confident about, and probably re-ask questions a number of times, or even ask our AI companion over here things that you've told me. So just as a heads up, in my AdGuard's DNS settings, this is my OpenSense. Okay, so what happens if instead I set AdGuard's upstream to OpenSense? What affordances does that provide me, and why? Instead of a public resolver directly, gives you a few things. Okay, interesting. DNSSEC validation. Unbound is a full recursive resolver, not a forwarder. It walks the DNS tree itself and validates DNSSEC signatures. Cloudflare also does this, but if you care about the validation happening on infrastructure you control rather than trusting in third parties, yes, I validated it, Unbound is the answer. Okay. This is interesting. Split Horizon still works. You'd keep the conditional forwarder entries in AdGuard for this. Core DNS exactly as before. Those take priority over the upstream. Unbound only sees the queries that fall through. OpenSense as a single upstream choke point. All external DNS flows through one place you already control and monitor. If you ever want to add response policy zones, custom overrides, or additional blocking at the resolver level, it's all in Unbound. Okay. Well, you don't really gain or lose. Privacy, whatever, performance. Cloudflare's hit rate across millions of users is arguably better for cold lookups. I don't really care that much, I think. You now have a longer chain. Client, AdGuard, Unbound, root servers. You need Unbound configured correctly. Specifically, don't let it also forward to a public resolver by default. Okay, but that's if I'm using Unbound. And you're recommending using DNS mask, right? What about DNS mask? How does that differ from Unbound? Currently, I've got Unbound already. Fundamentally different tools that happen to both answer DNS queries. Interesting. Unbound is purpose-built as a validating recursive resolver. It walks the DNS tree itself from root servers down. Okay, does one thing and does it deeply. It has no DHCP, no TFTP, no nothing else. It's a DNS specialist. DNS mask, network services glue. Lightweight forwarder, DHCP server, TFTP server. All-in-one DNS DHCP for a small network. It forwards queries upstream, does not recurse itself, reads Etsy hosts, and serves those records. Okay, so reads Etsy hosts and serves those records. I'm guessing means that's how you're getting, you're configuring. That's how you're configuring the hostname resolution stuff. All other domains besides .lan go to AdGuard's usual upstreams, but you'll get client stats. Right. Okay, so there's the client stats bonus. And that's because at some point, if I just run everything through AdGuard, skipping through the DNS at my router, I guess I'm flattening where the requests are coming from. I don't fully understand that yet. Integrates its own DHCP leases directly into DNS. So a device that gets a DHCP lease from DNS mask is automatically resolvable by name, no extra config. Ah, cool. The key distinction, DNS mask is a forwarder, not a resolver. It never talks to root servers. It always needs something upstream to actually resolve. Why this matters in your setup. If you put DNS mask where Unbound sits in your chain, you get none of this stuff. Why would I care about an OpenSense web UI services DNS masks hosts? You can set extra records. All DHCP leases are automatically there. Okay, cool. So DHCP DNS integration is generally useful in smaller setups. Small networks where you want hostname.local to just work without core DNS or any zone management. Your setup has outgrown that use case. You've deliberately separated DHCP, DNS filtering, and authoritative local DNS into distinct layers, which is the right call at your complexity level. Okay, this is just AI blowing smoke up my ass right now. Oh, you're so smart. Thanks, Claude. Really appreciate that. Okay. Interesting. So I think the way that I've got things set up is that I would use core DNS to do hostname.local. This is why you set up lab.nathanlaundry.net, OpenSense IP 53. Only resolve local names there. Let AdGuard Home resolve everything else. This is why you set up lab.nathanlaundry.net, OpenSense IP 53. Only resolve local names there. Okay, it's starting to make sense. I think I'm going to do some reading off stream about DNS because there's a lot here that I'm not getting. Better than it gaslighting one to write something wrong. True. True. Okay. Well, I think I also don't want to do DNS stuff on stream because I could very easily crash stream this way. So we're going to focus on some Ansible stuff, but I'm going to come back to this because I'm not convinced of this structure yet. I don't know enough about the details to make this clear for me. And so I'm going to have to take some time off stream to handle this. In the meantime, where were we? Whoops. Control B. So I'm on Papa Roach over here. And we're going to pick up where we left off over here. Where's my repo for Homelab config? I don't think it's called... I haven't pushed anything. Nice. Okay. Let's do this. Good. Okay. Hey, Dixie, how's it going? Yeah, ChatGPT wants you to change your settings before having an idea what's going on, right? Yeah. I'm like, here, let's do a quick chat. I hear consistently that DNS is like that thing that constantly breaks and is confusing for everyone. And so I want to spend some time properly thinking about it. I have a general architecture. The core DNS AdGuard setup comes from a friend who's done this already. So I'm borrowing, and then I have, I've had AI sort of knock me around a little bit. I want to spend some time really thinking that through before I start plugging in like multiple services together, especially not on stream. So, yeah, Epic Duco says, DNS and honestly, in general, networking is a rabbit hole that takes a long time to fully understand. Agreed. But I'm glad that I'm sort of cracking the ice on it at least. What are we doing today? I think Ansible. I think Ansible is the way we're going today. So, yeah. I'm at a couple of points that are a little frustrating because there's like secrets and API keys and stuff, and that's a little bit difficult to handle on stream. But I do have a second, like a little monitor that I can sort of pop things over to when I need to. Just hopefully I don't forget and share API keys. But then again, I mean, it's all within my local network, and I can also delete things and I have no ports open. So the chances of anything actually bad happening are quite low. But if bad things were going to happen, they'd happen to me. So, yeah. Oh, I don't have... Right. So I did do a bunch of SSH key stuff off stream to make this a little easier. Hey, Tim, how's it going? Just lurking in the background. Excellent. Always happy to have you lurking. Great. Now, how do we what's the Ansible install process? I think I wrote some of this down. Let's do this. I think I've got like a little run book idea happening down here. Yes. Okay, so we're going to install. I think I can actually just copy pasta. Excellent. But I think it's Ansible community. Yes. Okay. I'm going to alias. Do I have a bash RC? Oh, I've already done this. Ansible? Tight. Excellent. A hotkey to full blur screen could be good. That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. Huh. I should absolutely do that. Okay. So, that's that. Let's pop over here. And I think I've already done the SSH keygen stuff and ferrying them around. I haven't done that for my router yet. So I'm going to see if this actually works. Oops. Okay. Is this command accurate? Ansible? No, it's not. There's... Oh, of course it's not, because that's not on Papa Roach. That would be in here, and we do have that there. So, pub, this should work. I don't understand this drop bear thing. Is that a thing that's like specific to OpenWRT? Okay. Okay, I guess that's just where that's handled. Cool. I think, hold on, I copy pasted terribly. This, I think, because that should just be, I see, right, because we're inside that markdown table, it's mad. So I think if I do this, we should be fine. Okay, so that should have ferried over should have ferried this over to authorized keys, which we can check. Ta-da, authorized keys. Awesome. Okay, so that means ping? What's the Ansible ping thing? Feel free to ask me what the heck I'm doing. I don't, I'm clearly a little bit beyond my depths here. So the more you ask me to try to explain things, the better. Dropbear is a small SSHD. You'll find it on small appliances, which is why OpenWRT. It's probably like a BusyBox thing. Oh, Homelab. All-M ping. Okay, so it's not liking that. Let's try it one more time. It might just be that I'm not in the right place. No. So I've got an inventory, and I've got my inventory here. Is there an Ansible ping? That's got to be a thing, right? Built-in ping module. Try to connect to host, verify usable Python, and return Pong. Yo, what the heck are you doing? Okay, cool. So let's see if I can explain what I'm doing. So the idea... First, Dixie, are you familiar with Ansible as a concept? Because if not, then we got to start there, and then we'll take it from there. In the meantime, I will look for this ping option. Ansible target-m ping, which is what we did with an all. And that should, that looks like it should have worked, because this is hosts all, given we have an inventory. But unrecognized arguments all. And I'm curious. Okay. So let's start a new chat. No, not really. Okay, cool. No problem. Why don't I have the ping command? So my understanding works like this. Imagine, like, if you're configuring one computer, right? That's fairly easy to do from the command line. Just try just one out of the inventory. I will do that shortly. Good idea. I have absolutely, I don't know any of the commands on Ansible. Like, I have a general idea of what's available to me, but I don't know the syntax for anything. So we're going to have some fun. I will have to do a lot of searching up. So yeah, if you're configuring one computer, that's fairly easy to do from the command line, sort of like one at a time. And if you've got 2 or 3 computers, it becomes a bit of a pain, especially if they have similar configurations. You're kind of like copy pasting configuration over and over again. But if you have like 10, 20, or 100 computers that all need to be configured similarly, that's a big problem. You can't just solve that by copy pasting commands. What Ansible does is allow you to define sets of commands. Think a lot like shell scripting, but in this YAML syntax, and a set of different machines that you want to run those commands on. So what you do is you go to your like control node that runs like the Ansible sort of control layer, and on there you go, hey, for all of these different computers, I want you to run all of these commands that I've defined in YAML. And so I'm playing with that because I've got at this point about 4 or 5 computers that I want to be able to set up nicely and easily without having to SSH into each one of them one at a time. Does that make sense? Let me know if it doesn't, and we'll give it another shot. Okay. The most common cause on Debian is installing the Ansible pip package, which is just a community meta package without Ansible core. That might be it. Oops. Yes, it looks like I was missing Ansible core. Oh, I should have installed it via pipx. All right, we'll just remove this. Fun fact, dropbear is a multi-call binary like BusyBox. If you find dropbear on a system, you can ln the sshd bin to ssh and sep too, so you have a client to move further wherever it is. I don't know if I fully understand that. Okay, sorry, we're gonna do this. Yes. And we're gonna install this via pipx. And then I should remove that that alias I have as well. Whoops. Okay, and then pipx install Ansible. Ansible core. There we go. Okay, that's good. Which Ansible? Ansible. Okay. What? Interesting. Okay. Okay. What is the end goal? Not really getting it. So more of a group config instead of doing it. Yes, that is more or less the end goal. I want to be able to centralize configuration for a number of machines and orchestrate a couple of things, like being able to say, hey, all 5 of these machines, I want to grab your configs right now and back them up. And so with Ansible, I can just send out the grab config command to all 5 different machines, and do that all at once from one spot. And then I want to be able to do other things, like I want to update all 5 machines at the same time. That's another thing I can do from Ansible. So it gives me one place to do a bunch of orchestration, and because all of that orchestration is written down as YAML, right, then I can put that on Git, and I have sort of like a documentation of the processes that I do in my Homelab. So hopefully that'll help. So it's still... I got rid of this alias and I sourced it, but Ansible is still coming back as Ansible community. So I'm just going to exit. That looks better. Okay. Weird that the source didn't work. I guess sourcing doesn't replace the session entirely. It just like adds new things. So the alias didn't kind of like get undone. I think that's what happened. Okay. Okay, cool. A lot of things failed. This is great. We have something to work with. A lot of things failed. This is great. Okay, so OpenSense was mad. Permission denied. Cool. Proxmox was happy. We got a pong back from Proxmox. No Python interpreters found for host AX23. That's the OpenWRT access point. So that failed. Looks like. So what worked? Just Proxmox? I just had that issue like an hour ago. Funny coincidence. Source just updates with new stuff. All right. So let's take a look at our inventory. So we've got OpenSense. My NAS didn't respond at all. AX23. Here, let's try that again. Log.txt. And I'm looking for NAS. Oh, unreachable. Okay, failed to connect. Permission denied. So it's connecting as root for everything. And that, I think, is our problem. Because I created users for these things. So let's pop over. I think this is my NAS. Oh, okay. So here, where is users? Data protection? No. Users. Here I've got 2. I think I need to use TrueNAS admin. What's the syntax in Ansible for setting the user? What's the syntax in Ansible for setting the user to not root? Probably asked that question poorly, and it's going to tell me how to turn off root instead of setting the user. There we go. Remote user. Hosts all become true. Okay, let's test a few of these things first. Nodes might also need Python support too. You can enable SSH for root to there if you want to. I was trying to leave that off. I'm trying to be a little bit more security conscious than I normally am. So I'm trying not to do that, but we'll see. I might get desperate. So I can replace all with a host, I assume. So we're going to go hosts. So we're going to go NAS. Ansible NAS ping. And I should be able to do a -u, and I've got it as TrueNAS admin. Okay, awesome. I'm really happy about that. It's a default admin account. You didn't create that one. Yes, that's correct. I created Nathan. Nathan's the one that I use for the most part. Oh, wait, no. I found that SSH wasn't working. So here, let's actually add a user. We're going to call this one Papa Roach because that's the name of our control node. And what I would like is for there to be a user on each one of these devices that I can come up with words that is dedicated to doing this sort of thing. Public SSH key. Has sudo all by default. Not much difference. Yeah, I know. It's one step off, but I'm sort of like trying to make a habit of not using root for things. I know TrueNAS admin, yeah, and I'm about to give this user like full admin privileges anyways, but still I would like to have a user for this purpose so that I can like audit it. That just seems like a good idea. Now, what I'm going to have to do at this point is remember how to pass the keys around. So I did copy. I guess I just do this. SSH copy ID -I root. Okay, I've got this on root. Now it's asking for my public SSH key right here through the GUI. I might as well do it that way. I'm going to do that off screen. Sorry, gang. I'll be right back. I guess I'll just set that to my face for a bit. And then I can just grab the SSH key. Do I have that saved? Like, does TrueNAS admin just have that there? It does. Cool. So I'll grab that, and we'll create this user. I guess it doesn't need SMB access. Full admin, disable password, full name. Don't worry, the public is in the name, as long as we don't see this private key. Oh, okay. Well, either way. Wait, I made a mistake. Data. This is what I want to do. Okay, so now I've got a new user. I almost called it a character. Now I've got a new user on TrueNAS dedicated to this role. And we're going to see if that works. I've passed the public key in. So when we did this with TrueNAS admin, that worked. Is this going to work? Excellent. Okay, great. Well, that's progress. So, do I have NeoVim? No. I keep doing EX instead of just opening this. What are you going to do? So here's hosts. I guess let's go here. Let's just test this one. That's already nested. Let's go ahead and do this up top. Become true. And remote user is Papa Roach, right? And what I'll do is slowly try to set them all so that Papa Roach always has a user that works well. So my assumption now is that I shouldn't have to tell it the user. It should assume that it is Papa Roach given the inventory. And it doesn't. Isn't that really awesome? Why doesn't it do that? Right? Who knows? Who knows? Oh, this is at the playbook level. I've got my inventory as a YAML file. Plus become user. after connecting sudo. My host, Ansible user equals Nathan. Okay. Okay. Well, don't worry. Oh, yes, I've already read that. Okay, cool. And this is where we go, what's going on, Claude? Help me out. So for NAS, I've applied become and remote user. Now, when I do a ping-u, it works. But without -u, it doesn't work and still connects as root. Why? I wonder what I'm missing here. Playbook level variables, not inventory variables. When you put them under NAS in the inventory like that, Ansible ignores them. They're not valid inventory keys. To set them in the inventory, you need Ansible prefixed vars. Or apply them to the whole group via vars. I see. Okay. Well, that's fine with me. Let's try it now. Found variable using reserved name remote user. Oh, I see. Ansible, so it goes Ansible, become, and just Ansible user. Okay. Okay, cool. Well, that's interesting. We learned a little thing about Ansible. What did we learn? We learned that inventory variables or inventory stuff needs to have an Ansible prefix. Okay. What's the reasoning for that? Why do we need, why did Ansible design it with these Ansible prefixes for inventory? So whenever you're using AI at all, I highly recommend asking it instead of just copy pasting things, so you can actually learn a little thing as you go. Playbooks are instructions you're writing. Yes, the distinction makes sense when you think about the two contexts. Playbooks are instructions you're writing. When running this play, connect as this user, escalate privilege. Inventory is a data file describing hosts and how to reach them. Connection parameters that are properties of the host, not instructions for a play. Okay. Ansible connection metadata to distinguish them from your own arbitrary host variables. So in your inventory, you might have these. Without the prefix, Ansible can't tell remote user a connection directive you accidentally put in inventory from remote user, a legitimate host variable you define for your own use in a playbook template. Okay. Interesting. Well, that works for me. Which means, oh, right. Oops, we can just foreground. So we've done this, and that fixed that problem. Now, from Proxmox, we can SSH. We can SSH as root. I do kind of want to go through and change this for everything. Now, let's take a look. I've got a couple of users here. System access users. So I did create a user called Papa Roach on my OpenSense router. Oh, yeah. So we've got the SSH key, but that's fine because that's the public one, I guess. Okay. So for this user, do we have SSH and things enabled? I assume so. We have an authorized key. So we're going to try the same deal for this guy. Children. All children routers. Boom. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing. Colons in unquoted. Ah, I didn't put vars. Okay, there we go. Oops. Failed. Missing sudo password. Still interesting semantics. Not like YAML could provide an Ansible block. Yeah. Okay. It's using the discovered Python interpreter. So, missing sudo password. Somewhere in here, I need to be able to say, hey, this user should be able to do things without sudo. Okay. Well, let's see. Sense. Is there a way to set up sudo here? I set up a new user for SSH access and was wondering what the different login shell options mean. The login is a standard shell, which means users can't log in. Well, I've got it with shell, so it should be able. We should be able to SSH as this user, right? So if we do like let's do this SSH Papa Roach to the router. That works. Awesome. But let's just do this to see if this works. Papa Roach is not in the sudoers file. Well, there's your problem, isn't it? Okay. So now I'm as Roach. What am I doing here? I'm adding Papa Roach to the sudoers file. Now, I think I do this. Whoops. Do a little vi sudo. That looks good. I guess the question is, wait, do I need the percent here? I think I do. Okay. I think that'll work. Okay, let's try this again. So it should be in the sudoers file now. Not in the sudoers file. Ugh. How do I check what groups I'm in? I forget how to do that. Wheel group would also do it. How do I check what groups a user is in on the terminal? ID or groups. Cool. Groups. Okay. It's just not configured with sudo, it's configured with wheel. Interesting. That's cool. What was the other one? So I can do groups, or I can even just ID it? Oh. Cool. Okay. So let's do it's gonna let me do this from this? No, right? Yeah. That makes sense. And let's go shell. And we'll go over to vi sudo. And I'll go down here. I guess searching this for sudo, not very reasonable thing to do. And we should probably do without passwords so that Ansible works properly. I don't like this. I don't like that I have this user that doesn't require a password. Interesting, on my router. I know, I guess at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal, but it does feel a little icky. Okay. Wheel is just commented out in sudoers. Groups username. Yeah. All right. So hopefully that does it. Let's do an exit. Log out. Exit. We're going to try to SSH back in. See, that should get us a new sort of session. And this time I should be able to sudo vim, and I can, passwordlessly. Lovely. Now, this should work. And it does. We're the best. We're the best. All right. Inventory. Right, I just foreground it. Okay, so what's left? There's Proxmox and there's OpenWRT. Linux can't agree if wheel or sudoers. Yeah, seriously, just like, can we just like, is there no way to alias groups or something? Can you just alias wheel to group to you know what I'm saying? All right, hold on. I need to go grab some water. So we're gonna do the good old. I haven't fixed full screen yet, but and I haven't aliased BRB yet. Hold on. We need to go see ASCII Aquarium. I'll be right back. Kind of a big deal to BH. BSD is always wheel, and OpenSense is BSD. Ah, okay. Yeah, no, okay. At least that's consistent. I appreciate that. I do. This is one of the things I love about BSD. It is consistent. Okie dokie. Close. Did I leave my... I didn't even full screen it properly. My bad, guys. Okay, so. Good progress. Good progress. What do I want to do next? Well, there's this guy, and there's Proxmox. I say we start with Proxmox. Oh, I also moved over to Firefox. Right, I need the port. Is it this? No. Is it this one? What's the Proxmox? Oh, is it 3000? What's the Proxmox GUI at? Port 8006. Is that not what I did? There we go. I guess not. So let's go ahead. Port 8006 in HTTP. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay. So from here, we go My Settings, I guess. Where do I go to create new users? Data Center? Roles and users. All right. Great. Papa Roach. I didn't mean to just make that. Do I have no groups at all? That's interesting. Papa Roach. Expire never, enabled. Okay. Good news, OpenWRT has a Python 3 package. Excellent. I mean, I hear it has... Did OpenWRT have an API? I don't remember. Okay, so there's no groups here. This is weird. I didn't add a password or anything. Permissions. Password. Edit password for remove. Okay, cool. So edit does this. Password lets me add a password. Okay. Permission. All right. You need to create a group and roles if I recall correctly. Been a while since I've had to configure roles in Proxmox. Group on Proxmox equals Debian is sudo. Are you serious? All right. Awesome. That's great that's the way that works. So permissions are fine. Yeah, so there are no groups right now. There's roles. We can create them. There's realms. There is a lot to learn here. Okay. Maybe I can stop clicking the same things over and over again for a second. And I'm just going to give this guy a password and see what happens. Does not exist. User Papa Roach does not exist. Okay. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? On a single node, non-cluster, you simply open a console. I guess that makes sense. Is that... I mean, I suppose I could do it that way, but I kind of want to see... Okay, Proxmox add user. Like, I do want to learn, like, what is the Proxmox approach? Because I want to use this user for API tokens, and I'm guessing that's easier done through the GUI. But, you know, who knows? Proxmox VE stores user attributes here. Passwords are not stored here. Users are instead associated with authentication realms. Therefore, a user is often internally identified by their username and realm. Yeah. Each user entry in this file contains the following information: group memberships, an optional expiration date, a comment, whether this user is enabled, optional two-factor authentication keys. Okay. The system's root user can always log in via the Linux PAM realm and is an unconfined administrator. Yeah, okay. Can be a member of several groups. Groups are the preferred way to organize access permissions. You should always grant permissions to groups instead of individual users. That way you'll get much more maintainable access control lists. Okay. Well, let's create a group and see what happens. Admins. Comment. These are admins. Right? Now we edit. I mean, I can add users to the group, but where do I go to give permissions to a group? Weird. Whoa, what? Okay. Strange. Very strange so far. Okay, yeah, I mean, I know what this does, but as PVE users are just counterparts for existing users, for users existing on some external realm, the realms have to be configured in etc PVE domains.config. You assign the user to the group, edit Papa Roach, and assign group. Okay, so I edit group, admins. Cool. So now Papa Roach is part of admins, but I don't see a way to give the group itself certain permissions. System user must exist on each node, which the user is allowed to log in on. Mm-hmm. Holy cannoli. This is a lot of stuff. How? I mean, I'm pretty sure that's under roles. Okay. So I can create roles. I mean, administrator already exists. And that's what I would like. But let's try creating something. Admin. Click on the main menu permissions, then add. Main menu permissions. Permissions. Add. Group permission. Oh, okay. So we can do API. All right. So what does this do exactly? So we've got paths. So we can set specific permissions to a group and say what it can do. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Cool. So now let's map up what we want to do. Oh, sorry, it's been a long day today, so I'm kind of struggling to use my brain. Work was hard today, and I had multiple meetings to deal with. Fun meetings, but still tired. Okay. So, created a new group. At the end of the day, what I want to do is create an API token. Now, I want to do this for a user that's not root. I want to do it for this, token ID. Papa Roach, Proxmox. That's what I was missing. I couldn't do it in my home lab, as I'm not at home, so I can't test in my lab. Fair enough. No worries. Appreciate the help all the same. For Ansible and things. Cool. Well, you all saw this token ID in secret. So what we're going to do is delete this, and then we're going to do that again off screen. Token. Papa Roach Proxmox. Ansible stuff for Papa Roach. Okay, add. Copy secret value. Okay. Where am I going to put this? Where am I going to put this such that I don't lose it? Well, I'm going to also throw this off screen for a second. And self-hosting. Let's go. What am I looking for? Control node. That's what I want. And in my run book, there's no, it's 5 fixate or API access to Proxmox. Secret. I know what you're all thinking. Did Nathan really just put a secret in his plain text markdown files? Yeah. Yeah, he did. All right. So now I can close this, bring this back up here, throw it over here where it belongs, and we'll deal with the secret stuff. Actually, you know what would be nice? I'm going to put this in Bitwarden. I'm going to put this in Bitwarden. All right. I mean, that's a pretty good use of it. I'm really looking forward to trying Vault Warden. It's not an SSH key. Let's just create one for Proxmox. New login. Nice. And this is going to be... Sorry, I hate to have to do a bunch of things off screen. I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world to look at, but you know. Save. Okay. So that's nice. I've got that in Bitwarden now, and that'll it's probably a nice way to handle that. Okay, so we've got an API token. What do we do with that? Wasn't I originally just setting up SSH? I know I'm going to do the API thing in a bit, but that's not what I want to start with. So I think we'll start here with permissions. We're going to go group permission and see, is there like an SSH role no access? Just give this administrator admins path. What does path do here? That's what I was missing. Did you get Bitwarden set up yet? No. We're quite a ways out from setting up our Docker setup, so no Vaultwarden yet. I think the off-screen thing is why there's not a lot of home-labbing streamers versus home-labbing video creators. Yeah, probably. I mean, there comes a point where, like, when you're in the Docker space, it's not that bad, but it's these like these gluey bits that require a lot of like secret moving around, that is a bit of a pain. I can't mess with Vault Warden until I set my offsite backup, which I don't have the money for at the moment. Yeah, I feel that. Okay. What does the path component do here? In Proxmox, what is this? Permissions. What does the path component do? Like, what is that for? I can add access, mappings, nodes, VMs. Does this just mean like you have permissions for a certain path? Vault Warden is quite handy. I've got it running under rootless Podman on a dedicated VPS. Oh, that's a cool setup. I like that. So I'm guessing this means I have this level of this role's worth of permissions at any directory. That's what that reads like to me. So, cool. Just got my Switch and PC case for my old computer. Time to start my Homelabbing journey. Oh, hell yeah. That's very exciting. Okay, so we have a character. We have a user. His name is Papa Roach. Let's see if we can set a password. Papa Roach does not exist. He's like right there though. So for example, you could give X group permissions for only X node or YVM. You could get that granular. That is really handy. I mean, like, it's not very useful for me at the moment, but it sounds like the kind of thing that would be really, really nice at like the enterprise level. I already set up Pi-hole, but I'm thinking of going for Proxmox on old PC now with some XMPP server and maybe Quake 3. Oh man, I haven't played Quake 3 in a very long time. All right, I'm going to try logging out and see what happens. Like, this is not going to work, right? I didn't even manage to set a password for the user, right? So can't imagine how that would work. Where does this user then exist? Right? On which device does he exist? Yeah, that's a good question. It gets really crazy when you integrate AD and such into it. Active Directory, right? Yeah. Okay. So, where does this user exist? I have this user here, but I don't know what that actually like connects to. Right? So does the user not exist on this node? Is that the problem? I'm logging on. I don't understand their authentication kind of model. Interesting. Okay. When I create a user via permissions users, got running in my Homelab has quite evolved over the years. And try to set a password for it. It says the user doesn't exist, but it clearly does. Clearly does in some sense. And we'll just do a little screenshot for it. Where does this user live, and why doesn't it count as existing? Like, I don't even know where to look in the docs. This is the realm distinction. Okay, your user is Papa Roach at PAM. The PAM realm means Proxmox expects this user to exist as a real Linux system user on the node, authenticated via PAM. When you try to set a password through Proxmox UI, it's trying to set the PAM Linux password, and since there's no actual Etsy password entry for Papa Roach on the Proxmox host, it fails. The Proxmox user database, where you see it listed, is separate from the Linux user database. Cool. Proxmox just stores metadata, but defers authentication to PAM. Okay, cool. And this is why Plus earlier was trying to save me all of this hassle. So, is it just user add? Yeah. Papa Roach. Okay. Now, this user exists on this node now, right? I haven't set the password here. Does that mean I'm going to assume what happens is that if I try to log in, it won't work because I haven't set the password at this level, at the level like at the PAM level, the realm level, but I have set it on the node, so I would be able to like SSH in. So let's see. Okay, so I'm wrong. Cool. XMPP for the win. I run my own as well as an effort to support interoperable and open standards. Given that it references PAM, it's probably just in local Etsy password and maybe not shared on multiple nodes. Okay, see, I've never played with authentication tooling like this. So there's clearly a lot for me to learn in this realm here. What have we... what are some of the things, the big black boxes that we need to start tearing down? Today DNS was one of them. And now these like big authentication services. I'm guessing PAM lives at the same level as Active Directory. Are those like similar tools? Let's ask, does PAM fulfill a similar role as Active Directory? Are those the same kinds of things? Sort of, but they operate at different levels. Pluggable Authentication Modules is a Linux authentication framework. It's the mechanism that answers, is this password correct for this local user? It's pluggable in the sense that you can swap out how it checks. Oh, I can use YubiKey for this? That's actually really cool. But fundamentally, it's per machine and local. Okay. Active Directory is a directory service. It's a centralized database of users, groups, policies, and computers across an entire organization. Authentication is one thing it does via Kerberos, LDAP, but it also handles group policy, service discovery, machine enrollment, etc. The closer analogy would be Active Directory is like LDAP plus Kerberos plus group policy. PAM is the authentication layer on a single Linux machine, local per host. Okay. The local Linux authentication mechanism. Interesting. Okay. One of these days I'll have to read up on Active Directory a little bit. But we have a user. The user has username root. This should not... That was not my intention. Okay, so we're going to delete this key at some point. Let's delete it right away. I don't want to leave keys behind. That's a bad practice. Proxmox does not sync PAM between cluster nodes. Created one at node 1, cannot use it on node 2. Interesting. That sounds really annoying to deal with. Huh. All right, we've got a user. We haven't moved our SSH key over to this user yet. So we're gonna have to go. Which one am I at? I'm over here. That's my SSH. This is over here. So I want. Where's my? We're on Proxmox. So I want this one. Grab that. Pop over here. So I want to move this SSH public key, not to root this time though. I accidentally hit the up arrow there. And we want to try it here. That seems to have, I think that worked. Cool. So if we try it, SSH-I/root. Oops, missed the dot there. Ansible Homelab. Awesome. Okay. You can totally use YubiKey as a second factor in PAM configurations. If you want a more detailed look at PAM, Michael W. Lucas, it's called PAM Mastery. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I use I switched to a YubiKey for work because I hated having to use my phone as my authenticator. And that has been just bliss. That has been bliss. Not having to keep my phone on me. I just got this little thing. I plug it in. It's so nice. I don't know if I want to bring that level of complexity to my Homelab, but it is cool that that's an option. And now I know one of the tools that interacts with that. One of my favorite things about streaming is how much exposure to things I get. Even if I don't understand it, or like I barely grasp it during stream, it's just like a little bit of extra familiarity goes a long way next time you interact with the concept. Okay, so where are we? We've got our SSH working. We're still root here. So if we foreground again and we jump over to we jump over to our inventory, we can do this, and we'll set that sucker to sleep. And now routers, actually, I don't know what I've called this. Hold on. Just Proxmox. Yeah, okay. This should actually be called compute, and this APs. Yeah, I like this better. Access points, routers, NAS. This should be storage. There we go. Because I like the naming of the categories to be a little bit more like the abstract concept. The compute thing, the storage things, the router things. Routers is maybe a little bit, but I've got to separate out APs and routers. So anyways, cool. Okay, so that's working. We can do an Ansible-m ping, right? Is that right? Is it -m? Where's my... Should be able to do a Control-R Ansible. That didn't work the way I'd hoped. Routers. So I should be able to do compute. Okay, cool. Why isn't this working? No start of JSON char. Module results. Deserialization failed. Bin shi sudo not found. I probably didn't add the user to like a sudoers group at the node level. Right, so if I go, we'll log into root here. Right, and then we're gonna hit it with a little... Okay, I'm gonna do that. We got a strong start to the day. Interesting. Do I have... Okay, at least it's Vim. I've not been very good with VI in the past. Few decades of Linux work will give you a broad exposure. Yeah, truly. I wish I could work on more Linux systems. I like most of the time I'm working on Python code and AWS stuff, which is like spiritually very similar to Bash, Perl, and Linux systems, but not exactly. And there's something like I think a bit of a reverence for good old fashioned Linuxy things. Where is sudoers? Where is the sudoers file? I mean, it's got to be an etc, right? Sudoers.d. ZFS. Groups Papa Roach. Just Papa Roach. Groups root. So there is no wheel. Oh, Plus said this earlier. On Proxmox, the sudoers group is just Debian? What? Okay, hold on. Proxmox, add user to sudo. Wait, is sudo even installed? No, right? That's right. Which is why we have this weird no sudoers file and no vi sudo, isn't it? Okay, well, I suppose we start by doing that. So that works. Now, it does come with vi sudo. Oh my god, it opens it in nano. Oh no. That was terrible. Okay, well, at least this means we should have a proper sudoers file. We do. So I'm just going to open it because I'm not afraid. Allow members of group sudo to execute any command. So we're not doing wheel today. Cool. Just pick whatever, I guess. Export editor equals vim. Right. Export. I'm going to do that now. Just before I break my sudoers file. Now, let's take a look. We had a nice example of a sudoer file earlier. Right. And because I want the passwordless, and it's this. No password all. Cool. One more time. No password all. No password all. Whoops. Is that correct? It seems correct, but it's not highlighting differently. It's not a tab issue. There's the problem. Whoa! Okay, let's try that again. How's that? All equals all colon all. We haven't broken anything. This looks good. You have to set your editor to Vim. On Debian-based systems, use select editor at your... I've never seen select editor. Huh. That's really cool. Is basic more complex than tiny? I suppose we can just run them, right? And find out. User bin vim.basic. Okay, either way. Cool. Okay. So, what have we done? We installed sudo. We've adjusted the sudoers file, but we haven't added Papa Roach to that group. Cool. So, user mod-ag sudo Papa Roach, and then groups Papa Roach. Look at me go! Look at me go! I'm Linuxing all over the place. Now that's when we hit it with one of these, right? That's happy dance worthy. Hey Oliver, how's it going? Uses Debian's alternative system. And yes, Tiny is for embedded systems with very limited RAM compared with Basic, which is effectively the standard version. Cool. There we go. Y'all should make a digital garden. Yes, Nick. Well, I'll set one up soon because I realize I don't use my website whatsoever, and so I might just switch it over to your digital garden concept. That looks like a lot of fun. Okay, uses Debian's alternative system. What is Debian's alternative system? Sounds like a cool concept. Debian alternatives system. If I search up Debian alternatives, it's gonna, Huh. I'll update alternatives command to manage these choices. Allows users to select which of several similar programs should be the default for a specific function, like text editing. Cool. Love it. Okay. So, let's try all and see what happens. I think everything but OpenWRT is going to succeed. And that should go, this should be APs. Is that correct? It's tough to read this, isn't it? But I know that IP address, so we're good. The Debian wiki. Yes, good point. Okay, so at this point, what we've got left is the OpenWRT AP. Okay. I'm going to leave that open. So 10.10.2. Excellent. Now, this is what? It's BusyBox. Cool. What is BusyBox's package manager? Is that even a valid question? I don't think it is. BusyBox is not where the package manager is, right? The package manager is more native to the distro. What? I think it's just package. OpenWRT. Oh, package. Yes. Okay. You can install Python 3 using Lucy. Really? I guess first we're going to have to create a user. Although, what exactly is OpenWRT? What is it built on? About. O package. O package. So I'm guessing O package is really common in these like sort of small embedded systems Linux distros. What is the relation of... I mean, BusyBox is just a minimal set of like the core utils, right? So technically, I could put that on a Debian system and still be running apt. So to say that the relationship of like BusyBox to any particular package manager, that relationship is irrelevant, right? That's my understanding. I for integrated, I'm guessing. It is said like WRT, like the acronym. I know, I just love pronouncing acronyms. I get it from my dad. So this is always going to be OpenWRT to me. I don't mean it in a negative way. They're awesome. This project rocks. But it's OpenWRT. Just like WSL on Windows is Weasel. Please go forth and tell people about Weasel. I find that one hilarious. Both are stripped down deb formats. Okay, cool. Well, I still kind of want to know what this is. Distro. Highly extensible GNU Linux distribution for embedded devices. Cool. So it is itself, like they're considering it a full-on distribution, not based on another distribution or anything like that. It's their own distro. Cool. That works for me. I'm happy about that. O package still since you were on 24.x moved. OpenWRT moved to APK for 25.12. Like eggs, C for exe. It's even gross. I know, but it's just so fun to say. I really do mean it. I would not be using it if I thought the project was bad. It's a fantastic project, and I'm going to be calling it OpenWRT. Okay. Warning, package operations can break your system. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Python 3. So, download and install, I guess I just... Python 3. In any configured repositories, installed updates available. I'm gonna do this. O package search, package search Python. Interesting. So it doesn't seem to like me very much. Isn't that crazy that I just decided to take that personally? That's wild. Just came back. Any reason why OpenWRT over pfSense supported hardware? not OpenWRT over pfSense. We have both. So I use OpenSense for my router, and OpenWRT is on my dumb APs. So I have 2 access points, one for guest Wi-Fi and one for local, like one for LAN. Those are on these like TP-Link routers that I've had just laying in a closet. So I like flashed OpenWRT onto them, and boom, we are running both. Failed with code 7. Okay. I want to see what that looks like over here. I could just read it better from the terminal. Failed to download package list. Interesting. How do we even diagnose that? Like, what do we do? Are these just specific? Operation not permitted? Am I logged in as anything other than root? No. Failed to download the package list. Okay, well, there's no point in continuing this. Just ping Google. Interesting. Wonder if my Wi-Fi is still working. Yeah, no, it seems fine. Yeah, we're still up. We're still up. So I wonder what's going on with all that. Why would the operation not be permitted? No default root. No default root. It's often caused by misconfigured name resolution. Ping any hostname to test, then possibly edit etc resolve conf. Okay, ping hostname. Well, we can ping by address. Okay, so we can ping other things on the network. That's good. That's good. And we're pinging our router. But we can't get out to the web. So there's a problem. There's a problem, isn't it? Am I British? Where's that coming from? Why would I say that? Okay. Ping a hostname to test DNS. Okay. That works. So my AP just can't make it out to the web. So etc resolve conf for a fast fix, not a permanent one. Does that mean it's treating itself as the name server? Right? Because that's local host, isn't it? So, I mean, I assume we can just do one of these for now, right? And then we can. Okay. Why is that happening? Why is it doing that? So if we go, it uses DNS mask locally. Yeah, from the standpoint of name resolution, your OpenWRT is yeah. Okay. Resolve in hosts, use etc ethers, hosts. It's using DNS mask, which we learned a little bit about today. We're already here. Good job, Nathan. You've managed to do nothing with that one. Forward specific domain queries to specific upstream servers. Okay, I think we want to forward. Can I forward to my router? Is that what we do? Like I hit it with like this? I'm really afraid. I broke this thing earlier today, so every change I make terrifies me. Right, sorry, that's gonna work. We know that's gonna work because we just messed with our resolve, right? So, kinda, oh, no, it's reset itself. And yet, Google, excellent. Okay, well, that's interesting because this means that my guest Wi-Fi is also not gonna be updatable, which I'm not really that concerned about. It's the guest Wi-Fi. So, but we did learn something. If you're, because I've turned off a bunch of this stuff. It's not authoritative. Maybe that matters. But seems like we want to set up forwards to the router on our AP. That gets us out to the web. Very cool and fun. Now we can probably do an O package update. Except we can't. Okay. Failed to download package list. These are different errors, right? SSL verify error, unknown error. No need to change it there. Forwarder is a better and more stable setting. Putting 888 in resolve.conf would have also worked until you reboot. Forwarder is better and more stable setting. Okay, yeah. So what I've done is forward this over to my router, which means, and the router is probably, well, it's running Unbound, so it's doing its own checks. Is that right? Date is wrong? What date? This? I mean, I do, it seems I'm running an old version of OpenWRT. Since name resolution did not work, let's assume that NTPD didn't get a correct time up to now. Oh, okay. That I've never thought about. System date. Right. How do I reset that? Oh, and that's why you said date. Okay, so system date's wrong. NTPD is what? I know that has to do with setting time. Network time protocol. Okay, it's under system tab. So system time synchronization. Okay, so we have these NTP server candidates. I'm guessing what I need to do is something like a system control, refresh or restart NTP client, but I'd be surprised if this was running systemd. Is it? It's not. So I'm not really sure where to look for services and processes like this. Might be because DNS wasn't working before. Yeah, that's what I'm getting out of this. The question is, how do we re-request or resync? I think that's a decent enough Claude question. On OpenWRT, how do I re-request or sync time via NTP client? You could just reboot, but I would like to learn how this works. Or force an immediate sync. That's so many flags. System startup, click restart at sysntpd. System startup. Init scripts. Okay, so init scripts, this is like the way they did this before systemd, right? Like it's, I think this is the way FreeBSD still handles this kind of thing. Is that right? I apologize. I know I'm showing I'm showing my how green I am by not knowing systems prior to systemd, but here we are. NTP. Let's do a restart. Okay. Yes, before systemd. Cool. So let's try this now. You guys are geniuses. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, cool. All right, so that's something that I clearly need to add to my debugging arsenal, right? If there were two things that happened here. BSD has a single shell script, more or less, classically, Linux preferred sysvinit. Right. Okay, so what did we add to our debugging sort of framework and thinking? What did we add? We added that, one, specifically for OpenWRT, you need to check what's doing your where is it? Check your DNS forwards. It's probably true of any system. We're probably going to want to think about our DNS forwards if things are not resolving properly. So we're slowly cracking down DNS as a thing that we think about. Okay, great. And then the next thing was, if you've been disconnected from the internet for a while, your network time protocol stuff is probably out of sync, and that's going to make it so that you can't resolve certain things. You can force a resync. There's an NTPD client. You can force a resync. We also learned another thing. So yes, force a resync if you're hitting the web but you're having trouble syncing with particular mirrors, I guess. I don't know. And then the last thing was Lucy. Lucy has a component in the interface that lets you check for different, basically do system control stuff. Yeah. And it runs off of kind of old school init scripts. Cool. Bunch of new stuff. BSD had a single shell script, right? Yes. Okay. Lovely. So this means we can do an O package install Python 3. Come on. And we still have to make a user. So I bet I can do this from administration. I'm wrong. System software startup scheduled. It's not. There's router password. It's already. I guess. All right. You know what? I'm just gonna let this one be root. I'm just gonna let this one be root. I don't care. I mean, I'm sure I could just go in and do the thing and make a user. Cannot install Python 3. Why not? Oh, there's... Okay, wait. It lied. Okay, we're good. We're good? I think we're good. Let's find out if we're good. Careful that the router might have very limited space on its flash. Yes, good catch, and it looks like that's our problem. Is it APs? What did I call it? What did I call you? Yeah, APs. I'm not setting a particular user. That's fine. I'm okay with that. We're still getting the problem. There's no module found. So it did discover the interpreter. Python 3.11's there, but module deserialization failed. Okay, this is one of those things where I've got to hop off stream soon. So we're just going to hit Claude with what the heck is happening here and see. Python version mismatch. OpenWRT's Python 3.11 is minimal strip build that's missing standard library. But the more immediate problem is the SFTP SCP transfer failures. Ansible is trying to copy its module to the device and failing, which means it's falling back to a broken transfer method. Right. I think this is a size, like this is a storage issue. Like if we do what is it, DF? DH? DF-H? Is that it? First, let's do one of these before I break my computer or something. Human readable, yes. Really? I thought that was just a thing we had. Okay. Yeah. 100% usage. Okay. So... why is temp so big? And root is so small? Okay. So we might not be able to control this thing with Ansible given the size, right? I think this is a size issue. Storage. I think that's what we're dealing with here. Yeah, it's pretty constrained. There's normal. This is normal. Overlay is just the writable layer on top of the read-only. Yeah, this is actually a good argument. Those work without installing anything on the device at all. Let's try that. See what happens. 100% on ROM isn't a problem. It's intended. Okay. Okay, we want to do this from here. Okay, cool. So I guess we're going to go this route. This seemed to work except for... Nope, that's earlier. So we want to do this approach. Okay, how do I ensure we take that approach? Can I state it in the inventory file somehow? Or is that a playbook thing? But for raw specifically, you can't really enforce it at the inventory level. Raw is a module choice you make per task in playbooks. The cleaner approach is the collection, which you install once. Then in your inventory, point to the connection plugin, add it. Okay, that works for me. Let's try it. To enable pre-release globally, use -- pre. Well, I don't want to do that. So, which is done via the Ansible connection variable. I think I would prefer to do this. I'm just gonna mess about for a second and see what effect this has, because I'm curious now. Vars. Oh. So we know that this worked. All I want to do is a ping. I'm curious if that changes things. It doesn't. Okay. So, but we can just pass raw. Can't really enforce it. So yeah, I'm going to assume that doesn't... Why am I doing this way? We can get rid of this. Get rid of that. And I will look more into this later. I gotta sign off anyways. It is about that time. But we made some really good progress today. That was fun. I didn't document properly, which we were moving a little faster than normal, and that I'm a little wary of that. I know mostly all we did was create users and things and figure out how users work on Proxmox and some other stuff. We still have API keys to manage. I guess that's something I'll try to do off stream so that we don't have a bunch of off-screen stuff to deal with. But what else do we got? What else is going on? I still have this little fix to do to figure out how to make my connection consistently OpenWRT. We'll see how it goes. I don't know why Ansible Galaxy didn't work here. You got your VOD to go back on. You are fully documented. I am never going to watch my VOD. I know that for a fact. But I guess technically it's there if I'm really desperate. But yeah, I do got to get going. So, fun stream, everybody. I mean, we're getting there. It's always a little bit slower than I hope things will go. But, you know, bit by bit, the Homelab comes together. You can only do so much. What's up next? yeah, we still have a bunch of backup stuff to deal with. Have a lot of backup stuff to deal with before we move on to our Docker host stuff, which is going to be where the fun really begins, because that's when we get to actually start hosting things. Right now, we just have a bunch of infrastructure, which was the point, right? That was our goal this year, was to like take it slow, set up the infrastructure so that we're building on a stable base, not rushing towards features. So we signed up for this, and it's like, I think it'll pay off. And I also assumed that this would take the entire year anyways, right? Given the pace we're going. I've got a job. I've got a bunch of reading I want to do. So I can't like Homelab 24/7. So we are sort of mostly constraining it to this and maybe an additional Homelab day in the week, but not much more than that. So the pace goes. The pace goes. Thank you all so much for your help today. You guys were fantastic. I learned a ton. I'm sure I'm going to be learning a ton more, but we're cracking open DNS a little bit. We're cracking open, we're getting we're shaking off our Linux rust quite a bit, which always feels nice. I hate being rusty with my Linux. It just feels bad to not know my commands like I did before. And even, I mean, not that I was ever a wizard, but you know, it's nice to be back in sort of in a shell doing things. And it's cool to be messing about with users, because user management feels very classically Linuxy to me. So it's nice when I get to mess with users and permissions and groups. That feels like being an administrator, which is one of the things I want to do. All right. That's that. Thank you all so much for your time and attention. I will catch you next week. I will be trying to put out a video this week, a very low effort video just to get back in the groove of things. So keep your eyes peeled, but not too peeled, because I don't know how much I trust myself. I'll get something out soon. All right. Thanks, everyone. Catch you later. There we go. There I go. I waved like a